The best piano brands used to come from a handful of countries, and the country of origin told you a great deal about what you were buying. German pianos were associated with craftsmanship. Japanese pianos became known for precision and consistency. American pianos had an extraordinary manufacturing legacy. Korean pianos offered value, and Chinese pianos developed a reputation that, frankly, was not often very good. But that map has been turned upside down. Japan, Korea, China, Indonesia, the United States, and Europe have all changed places in the piano industry. Some factories grew dramatically, some disappeared, some companies moved production across borders. And some of the most familiar names in piano manufacturing are no longer making pianos where you think they are. So where do the best pianos come from now? And does the country of origin still matter? The answer is yes, but not in the simple way many people think. Welcome to Living Pianos. Robert Estrin here with an updated look at where pianos are made and what the country on the label really tells you. I've been involved with pianos my entire life as a pianist, teacher, and dealer, and I've watched the map of piano manufacturing change dramatically. This industry follows labor costs, technology, education, corporate investment, government policy, and consumer demand. But here's the thing, a piano may carry a famous name, and that name alone may not tell you the entire story. You have to understand the model, the factory, the year, the design, the components, the quality control, and the preparation of the individual instrument. Today, I want to take you through the history of how piano manufacturing has moved around the world. Then, I'll give you a practical system for evaluating a piano intelligently, what I call the piano passport. Many people assume that when they see a brand name, they know where the piano comes from. But what exactly do they mean? Do they mean the company began in Germany or Japan? Do they mean the piano was designed there? Do they mean it was manufactured there? Do they mean the components came from there? Those can be very different things. A piano can be designed in one country, manufactured in another, assembled somewhere else, and sold under a brand associated with an entirely different country. A factory may build instruments for several brands. A company may own factories overseas. Components may be imported from different parts of the world. Technology may be licensed from other manufacturers. So the name on the fallboard is only one piece of information. The country of origin still matters. It can tell you something about manufacturing culture, materials, climate, quality control systems, and the history of a particular factory. But it is not the verdict. The old assumptions about these countries they're now outdated. And to understand why, we have to go back to when the United States was one of the great centers of piano manufacturing. For much of the 20th century, the United States was one of the great piano manufacturing countries in the world. There were numerous American companies producing large numbers of pianos. Steinway, Mason and Hamlin, Baldwin, Chickering, Knobby, and many others became part of the American musical life. Some of the finest pianos ever built came from this period. But an important point is overlooked. A piano industry is not just one factory, it is an entire ecosystem. You need factories, skilled workers, suppliers, dealers, technicians, educators, and a large enough market to support all of them. Over time, competition from overseas manufacturers, rising costs, changing consumer habits, and the shrinking number of homes with acoustic pianos placed enormous pressure on American production. The large-scale American piano industry declined dramatically. America still has important builders, designers, rebuilders, technicians, and a tremendous musical legacy, but is no longer the mass production center it once was. And then Japan changed the competitive standard. Yamaha and Kawai became major forces in the piano industry because they offered something extremely powerful: consistency. They didn't simply compete by producing inexpensive copies. They developed the ability to produce large numbers of pianos that were dependable, stable, well-designed, and remarkably uniform from one instrument to the next. That mattered enormously to schools, teachers, institutions, and families. When someone bought a Yamaha or Kawai, they generally had a good idea of what they were getting. The instruments held up under daily use, parts and service were available, the actions were reliable, and the quality was consistent enough that institutions could buy many instruments without every piano becoming a completely separate gamble. That is a very powerful proposition, and both companies eventually expanded upward. They invested in professional instruments, concert grands, research, artist relationships, and institutional credibility. The strategy was not simply, let's sell more pianos. It was, let's become the piano that serious pianists and institutions believe they should choose. That is a much more powerful form of marketing. But even here, we need to be precise. There are Japanese-made pianos at different price and quality levels. There are also instruments sold under Japanese brand names that are manufactured elsewhere. So, Japanese piano is a starting point, not a complete evaluation. Then came the Korean piano industry. During the 1970s, 1980s, and into the 1990s, companies such as Youngchang and Samick became major forces in global piano manufacturing. They produced enormous numbers of pianos and helped make acoustic piano ownership possible for many families. At one point, Youngchang became the largest piano producer in the world. That's difficult to imagine today because these companies are often viewed as secondary names compared with Yamaha, Kawai, or Steinway. But Korea played a critical role in the next phase of piano manufacturing. Some Korean pianos were basic instruments built to a price point. Some were surprisingly good, and some older examples are simply worn out today because of age, neglect, or poor maintenance. And because the new cost was relatively low, rebuilding doesn't make financial sense. That last point is important. When you're looking at an older piano, its present condition can be more important than its original country manufacturer. A piano that was well built but poorly maintained may be disappointing. A less prestigious piano that has been cared for, regulated, tuned, and properly prepared may be a much better musical instrument. But manufacturing doesn't stay in one place forever. As wages, production costs rose in Korea, companies began looking for new locations, and the map shifted again. Indonesia became one of the most important piano manufacturing locations in the world. Samick, a Korean company, established major production there. Yamaha produced important models there. Kawai also used Indonesian manufacturing for various instruments. Indonesia became a serious competitor to China in terms of price and quality. There are reasons for that. The Indonesian piano industry developed around a relatively small number of large international companies rather than hundreds of small domestic factories. That can make consistency easier to maintain. But Indonesia also demonstrates why country of origin is only one clue. Pianos are made largely from wood, and wood reacts to climate. A piano manufactured in a tropical environment and then shipped to a dry climate must be designed, seasoned, dried, stored, and prepared carefully. If that process is not handled correctly, problems can appear later. So when you're judging an Indonesian piano, the question is not simply, is it Indonesian? You want to ask, which company made it? Which model is it? What components does it use? How is it prepared? And how is that particular model held up over time? Now we come to China. Chinese pianos developed a very different reputation in the early 1990s and early 2000s. Many of the early Chinese pianos sold in the West were disappointing. I'll never forget seeing the very first Pearl River piano at the International NAMM trade show. I played a few notes on an upright and some of the keys stuck, and so I went around to the back of the piano. The back posts still had tree bark on them. They could look like pianos, but they could carry attractive names, but the design, materials, consistency, and preparation were often nowhere near what buyers expected. However, China had something no other country could match: enormous manufacturing capacity and an enormous potential domestic market. As China's middle class expanded, piano education became extremely popular. Millions of children studied piano. The demand was extraordinary. Factories multiplied. Foreign companies invested. Western and European components entered the supply chain. Technical expertise improved. and the quality of many Chinese pianos improved dramatically. This point deserves fairness. It isn't accurate to say that every Chinese piano is bad. There are Chinese pianos today that are much better than the instruments that created the country's poor reputation decades ago. In fact, the best Chinese manufacturers benefited from better equipment, improved materials, stronger designs, foreign technical assistance, and more serious quality control. Some Chinese pianos today are in the league of Japanese pianos. Pearl River became the largest piano manufacturer in the world. Its relationship with Schimmel also illustrates how blurred the old national categories have become. A company associated with China may be connected to European design, imported components, a European brand, and global distribution. Pearl River owns the venerable German company Schimmel. So, what country is the piano really from? That question is not as simple as it seems. But now we're seeing another major shift. The Chinese piano boom was closely connected to education. Families bought pianos because children were studying. Schools and teachers created demand. The market appeared almost unlimited. But when education demand weakens, the entire piano ecosystem feels it. Fewer students mean fewer lessons mean fewer new pianos sold, fewer sales mean excess inventory, and then the pressure on factories and consolidation. Recent company reporting has pointed to significant weakness in China connected to declining education-related demand for acoustic pianos. This isn't simply a story about one country making fewer pianos. It's a story about what happens when an entire education-driven consumer market changes. Some manufacturers will disappear. Some will merge, some will produce fewer instruments, and the survivors will have to decide whether they want to compete at the bottom, in the middle, or at the higher end of the market. The old map is changing again. Now, this may sound like a video about piano brands, but the larger story is much more important. First, one country develops an industry, then another country develops a more efficient way to produce the same product. Wages rise, companies relocate, a new country becomes dominant. The old reputation remains, but the manufacturing reality changes. We have seen this with automobiles, electronics, cameras, furniture, and other products, and now we see it in pianos. The country of origin is not merely a technical detail, it's a story about labor, economics, education, technology, national ambition, and consumer trust. And here's where this stops being a story only about China, Japan, or Korea. It becomes a story about every manufactured product we buy, and how long we continue trusting an old reputation after the reality has changed. So, does country of origin still matter? Absolutely, but it should be treated as a clue, not a verdict. A Japanese piano is not automatically excellent. A Chinese piano is not automatically poor. A Korean piano is not automatically outdated. An Indonesian piano is not automatically inconsistent. And a European name does not guarantee that every instrument carrying that name was built entirely in Europe. The exact model matters enormously. The specific factory matters. The year matters. The design matters. The quality of the components matters. And perhaps most importantly, the preparation and condition matter. A piano that was built well but never properly maintained may disappoint you. New pianos don't come out of the box anywhere close to their potential. It's up to dealers to prepare the pianos with extensive regulation, voicing, tuning, and other refinements. A piano from a country with a less prestigious reputation may surprise you if it has a good design, good components, excellent regulation, and a strong history of reliability, particularly when it's prepped well. That's why buying a piano from a photograph or from a brand name alone is risky. Let me show you how I think about this in practical terms. Here is one piano. And here's another piano. Listen to the clarity of the tone. Listen to the way the sound develops. Notice the response of the keys and how much control I have at soft levels. Even if these two pianos came from the same country or even carry the same brand name, they may feel and sound completely different. One may have a more responsive action, one may have a warmer tone, one may project more, one may have better sustain, one may simply be more musical to your ears and feel better with your hands. Here's where the country of origin becomes useful. It tells you where to begin investigating. It may raise questions about consistency, climate, materials, or quality control, but your ears and your hands have to complete the investigation. Do you hear a clear ringing tone? Does the instrument respond evenly? Do the notes repeat properly? Does the action allow you to control the sound, or are you fighting the piano? And what does the technician find when the instrument is examined? That is more valuable than a flag printed on a label. When you are evaluating a piano today, I recommend thinking in terms of the complete piano passport. Ask these 7 questions. What is the exact brand and model? Don't stop at the name on the fallboard. The model may tell you more than the brand alone. Where is the particular model manufactured? Don't assume every model from a company was made in the same country. When was it manufactured? The same model may change over time. Ownership, factories, components, and quality control can change. What factory produced it? A company name and factory name are not always the same thing. And where did the design come from? Was it designed by the brand itself? Was it adapted from another source? Was technology licensed or shared? And what major components does it use? Look at the action parts: hammers, strings, soundboard, pin block, and other important materials. Who is standing behind it? How strong are the dealer, technician, warranty, parts, and service support? That final question is often overlooked. A piano is not a refrigerator. You do not simply plug it in and forget about it. A piano needs tuning, regulation, voicing, humidity awareness, and regular service. The Piano Technicians Guild recommends 4 tunings a year. A knowledgeable dealer and a good piano technician can make a tremendous difference in your experience of owning a piano. The right piano for you is not necessarily the piano with the greatest reputation. It's the piano that responds to you musically, mechanically, and financially. Where is the piano industry going from here? I believe we'll see fewer manufacturers, more consolidation, greater separation between the entry level and the high market. At the bottom, companies will compete on price, digital technology, and efficient manufacturing. In the middle, quality control and value will become increasingly important. At the high end, companies will compete on craftsmanship, identity, heritage, customization, and the musical experience. And the traditional distinction between European, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and Indonesian pianos will become even more complicated. The piano of the future may involve German design, Japanese technology, Indonesian or Chinese manufacturing, European components, and a brand identity created for a global market. That doesn't automatically make it better or worse. It simply means you have to look more carefully. So where do the best pianos come from now? They can come from several places. Japan still has extraordinary manufacturing discipline. Europe still produces some of the finest handcrafted instruments in the world. Korea has a complicated history, but some of its instruments offer real value. Indonesia has become a major and capable manufacturing center. China has produced some disappointing pianos in the past, but has also improved dramatically and created some world-class instruments. And the United States, despite the collapse of its large-scale piano industry, still has important builders, rebuilders, designers, technicians, and a tremendous legacy, with only Steinway and Mason & Hamlin still producing pianos here. And not all Mason & Hamlins are produced in the United States. Some models are manufactured in China. But the final answer is not simply a country, it's the combination of the design, the factory, the materials, the quality control, the preparation, the condition, and the individual instrument in front of you. The piano industry has been turned upside down. The old map is no longer enough. So, if you're buying a piano today, don't ask only, what brand is this? Ask, what is the story behind this particular piano, and can I hear and feel the truth for myself? Your ears will tell you, your hands will tell you, and a thorough examination by a qualified technician will tell you even more. I'm Robert Estrin. Any questions, put them here in the comments at livingpianos.com or on YouTube. I'm really interested in your experience with pianos from different countries. Which instruments have surprised you, for better or for worse? Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.